Welcome to another Indie Dev Showcase, highlighting the many indie games we play here on the channel. If you'd like to submit a game for a future video, please reach out. But otherwise, let's begin. Our first entry for this week is Cipher Zero. This is a nonogram style puzzle game. You're trying to solve these puzzles while strange things are happening in the background. While the game starts out with kind of the traditional rules, each line represents where a block can be in their own column, it will quickly introduce new mechanisms and things to keep track of that will affect the overall placement for your various tiles. And that is pretty much it. This is not designed to be an overly long or overly complicated puzzle game. Go from room to room, solve puzzle to puzzle, and get to the end. If you're not a fan of nonograms, I don't think this game is going to change your mind, but if you're in the mood to do some very interesting and tile-based puzzle solving, I think it's at least worth a check. And now we switch over to Belle Boomerang. This is a modern retro 2D platformer. You play as Belle, and she has a boomerang. And when the leaders of her land have been stricken with a curse, we must use both jump and boomerang in order to save the day. The game kind of gives me like the vibe of like the old NES Kirby titles. You'll explore each level, trying to find collectibles, power-ups, and more. You'll gain access to different forms that will change your primary attack, and each level kind of has its own unique gimmick. When it's time for a boss fight, you'll be doing some classic 2D platforming action. Now, the difficulty of this one I would say is moderate to moderately challenging. A lot of death pits as per classic platforming goes, and the game comes with different difficulties if you're looking for more of an old school challenge as well. Not going to be the most revolutionary 2D platformer you've played, but if you're in the mood for some good old fashioned NES style platforming, I would definitely recommend you give this one a play. And now we go to Redline Crooks. This is a driving action roguelike, where you play as crooks trying to escape from the cops and doing it as violently and as stylishly as possible. The gameplay involves you going through area by area, trying to keep yourself from running out of health. You can slam into most vehicles. This will grant you health back. You also acquire different perks to make things easier and special abilities. As you play through the game, you'll unlock more cars, more things that can happen during a run, and you're going to have to try and stay on that road whenever you can, because you will run out of time if you're not careful. This one is definitely only enjoyable, even if you are not the best driver as yours truly. And there are definitely a variety of bosses you're going to be dealing with as well. And it reminded me a little bit of when we played, I think it was like a Sword Ship from a few years back in terms of just like the constant motion and movement. But this one is definitely a hidden gem for action roguelike fans. So if you're in the mood to do some racing and crashing along the way, a very easy recommendation. We really switch things up for our next game with Horticular, which I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that one right. This is a garden building game. You've been transported to a strange planet that is being corrupted by an evil force. And to stop it, you're going to make cute little habitats for bees, fish, and a variety of other animals. Also zap the occasional nasty gnome that shows up to cause trouble. How this one works is very similar to that of the older game Viva Pinata. You'll set up a habitat by different zones. Within said zone, you'll be able to add grass, water, flowers, rocks, and other things. Each object you put in will change the properties of that zone. If your zone meets all the kind of care or comforts that creature's looking for, they will appear and then you can add them to that habitat. Creatures will give you kind of like love energy, and this is used to unlock upgrades, as well as gaining money by completing goals that will also allow you to unlock more of the world, get more creatures, and expand ever outward, and making things more and more green along the way. by no means is going to be a super difficult, high-octane style game, but definitely an incredibly cozy one. As someone who loved the original Viva Pinata, this game definitely works for me. So this one is a very easy recommendation for any Viva Pinata fans in the audience, or if you're looking to do some cozy habitat building in your spare time. We're back with a little bit more driving in a roguelike with Fogpiercer. This is based on the demo and may not represent the current version of the game or the demo itself. We are no longer driving cars and racing around, but we are on a train, and we must make it to station while dealing with bandits and other enemies trying to stop us. In this one, each car on your train represents kind of a specific function. So there's an attacking car, defense, and so on. And you'll need to make use of all your different abilities in order to deal with the enemies before they crash your train. If they do enough damage to a car, it will break. And as you play through, you'll acquire different passives, as well as different cars that will come with it, their own abilities, their own strategies, etc, etc. Like a lot of the other vehicle-based roguelikes, you can push enemies around, they can be manipulated, and you want to try and knock them into each other and do whatever you can to destroy them. It's hard to tell from the demo how easy or hard the main game is going to be. Since you're always in the middle of your kind of path, it means that it's a lot harder to kind of actively dodge enemy attacks. You can move your train forward or back by spending points, but when there's like 4 or 5 enemies in the way, it becomes very hard to get that going. Still, another really solid concept for a roguelike, and one I'm certainly interested in checking more out when the game is released at some point in the future. And for the last game of this week's episode, we have Fallen Pass. The footage you're seeing is taken from the 1.0 release. The game has received updates since, but I don't know how much it has changed. This is a tactical RPG roguelite. You are exploring kind of mysterious like floating islands in a strange dimension. You must use your team to deal with the various enemies and gain more resources in order to power up. The game features different characters that belong to various classes, and you can run, fly, and other maneuvers to get around and deal with the enemies. The game's unique element with combat is how madness works. Madness is the gauge on the right hand side of a character portrait. Whenever you use a spell, it will increase madness, which will also increase the properties of your spells. If it gets too high, your character will lose it, and will become almost impossible to control. And you'll need to balance that with using your normal abilities. As with any roguelite, as you get far into the game, you'll unlock resources that can be used to permanently unlock additional features, more quality of life stuff, etc, etc. Now the one big complaint the game had, and I had this as well, is that at the beginning it is very hard to get those starting resources going, and you'll need them in order to unlock permanent boosts, as well as make it easier to field your teams. But you only get resources by completing enough maps. So if you're getting stuck, let's say on the 2nd or 3rd map of a campaign before you get a resource, then anything that you did is just basically a wash. You get nothing out of it. And this is one of those games where the enemies can hit very hard. You leave a character in the wrong spot, and they are going to suffer from it. And you only have a limited pool of characters to begin the game with, and you're going to become outnumbered fairly quickly. Still, I like the concept of this one, and as I said, if it has received some balance patches since launch, there could certainly be something here for tactical strategy fans to check out. And with that, another showcase video comes to an end. Let me know what you think about these games down below, and you'll also find links to them. Be sure to get in touch with them to your game for a future stream and showcase as well. Thanks again for watching, and come back for more design talks and indie games coming soon. Thanks for watching, and a special thank you to our Patreon supporters. If you enjoyed the video, do the YouTubing stuff, be sure to visit our Discord and Patreon, and if you're interested in more of my thoughts on design, check out my game design books.